A quiet diner in the middle of nowhere. Just another Tuesday night in small-town America. The smell of coffee fills the air. A lone man sits in the corner booth. Simple jeans, plain t-shirt, nothing special about him. He's reading a newspaper, sipping black coffee, minding his own business. Then the rumble starts. Low at first, then louder. The windows shake. 15 motorcycles pull into the parking lot, chrome gleaming under the streetlights. Engines roaring like angry beasts. The iron wolves have arrived. They walk in like they own the place. Leather vests covered in patches, skull symbols, chains hanging from their belts. The whole restaurant goes quiet. People look down at their plates. Nobody makes eye contact. Everyone knows what happens when you look. The bikers see the man in the corner. He's still reading his paper, still sipping his coffee. He hasn't looked up once. This makes them angry. This makes them curious. Who is this guy? Does he not know who we are? Does he have a death wish? They don't know. They have no idea. This quiet man holds secrets, deadly secrets. What happens when predators choose the wrong prey? What happens when evil picks a fight with a ghost? Stay with me, because this story will blow your mind. This story will restore your faith, in justice, in courage, in one man's ability to change everything. Let's go back, way back, to where it all began, to a small town in Montana, to a boy who would become a legend. Marcus Webb was born in 1978. Rural Montana was his home. Mountains surrounded him. Forests stretched for miles. Life was simple back then. Life was hard. His father worked as a logger, dangerous work, deadly work. Men died in those forests every year. His mother worked at the local school. She was a teacher's aide. The family didn't have much money, but they had something more valuable. They had love. They had honor. They had each other. Young Marcus was different from other kids. You could see it in his eyes, that focus, that intensity. While other boys played video games, Marcus was outside, running, training, pushing himself. His father noticed it early. This boy has something special, something rare, a fire that won't go out. Marcus was quiet, not shy, just observant. He watched everything. He learned everything. The way his father moved through the forest, the way animals tracked their prey, the way strong men carried themselves, he absorbed it all like a sponge. Knowledge became his weapon. Discipline became his armor. At age 8, he started running every morning, before school, before breakfast, before the sun came up. 5 miles through the mountains, rain or shine, snow or heat. His mother worried, "You're pushing too hard, you're just a child," but Marcus knew something she didn't. He was preparing, for what? He didn't know yet, but he knew it was coming. He swam in ice-cold lakes, even in winter. His friends thought he was crazy. They laughed at him, they called him weird, but Marcus didn't care. Pain was temporary, weakness was forever. He chose pain, every single time. School was easy for him, not because he was naturally smart, but because he outworked everyone. He studied harder, he focused better. While other kids goofed off, Marcus was learning history, science, strategy. His teachers loved him. This boy will do something great. They could feel it. Everyone could feel it. Then came the day that changed everything. Marcus was 12 years old. His sister Emily was 16. She was driving home from a friend's house. A drunk driver ran a red light, T-boned her car at 50 miles per hour. The car flipped 3 times, metal twisted like paper. Glass exploded everywhere. Marcus got the call at home. His mother screamed. His father grabbed the keys. They drove to the hospital in silence, the longest drive of their lives. Emily was in surgery, critical condition. The doctors said she might not make it. Marcus sat in that waiting room for 8 hours. He didn't cry. He didn't speak. He just sat there, thinking, processing. Something broke inside him that night, but something else was born, a purpose. A mission, a promise. Emily survived, but she was never the same. Broken bones healed, but the trauma stayed. Marcus watched her suffer. He watched his parents suffer, and he felt helpless, powerless, useless. He hated that feeling more than anything in the world. He made a vow that night, sitting in that hospital under those fluorescent lights. Never again. Never again would he be powerless. Never again would he stand by while evil won. He would become the protector, the warrior, the shield between innocence and danger. This wasn't just a decision. This was a transformation. This was destiny calling. From that day forward, Marcus trained differently. Harder, smarter, more intense. He researched military training programs, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Marine Force Recon. He read everything he could find. He watched documentaries. He studied tactics. His bedroom became a war room. His mind became a strategic weapon. At 17, Marcus walked into the Navy recruitment office. "I want to be a SEAL." The recruiter looked him up and down. "Kid, you know what that means? You know how hard that is?" Marcus just nodded. "I know, I'm ready." The recruiter smiled. "I've heard that before. But there was something different about this kid, something in his eyes. Okay, let's see your birth certificate. Marcus handed it over. The recruiter's smile faded. You're 17, you need to be 18, come back next year. Marcus felt his heart sink. One more year of waiting, one more year of preparing, but he didn't argue, he didn't complain, he just nodded, thanked the recruiter, and walked out. That year became the hardest of his life. He didn't wait patiently, he trained like a man possessed. 5 a.m. runs became 3 a.m. runs, 10-mile runs became 20-mile runs, push-ups until his arms shook, pull-ups until his hands bled. Cold showers in the dead of winter, mental toughness training. He broke himself down, built himself back up. Stronger, harder, better. His friends stopped calling. They didn't understand him anymore. This guy is obsessed. This guy is crazy. They went to parties. They chased girls. They lived normal teenage lives, but Marcus had chosen a different path. A lonely path, a warrior's path, and warriors don't have time for parties. His girlfriend Sarah tried to understand. She really did. But eventually she gave up. Marcus, you're scaring me. You're changing. You're becoming someone I don't know. We need to talk about us, about our future. Marcus knew what was coming. He'd seen it in her eyes for weeks. The fear, the distance, the goodbye. She wanted a normal life. White picket fence. 2.5 kids, a husband who came home at 5:30. But Marcus was building something different, something dangerous, something necessary. I'm sorry, Sarah. I have to do this. I have to become this. She cried. She begged him to choose her. But some men are built for different things. Some men are built for war. The day Marcus turned 18, he was back at that recruitment office. First person through the door. The same recruiter was there. He smiled when he saw Marcus. I remember you. You came back. Most kids don't come back. Marcus signed the papers that day. His life changed forever in that moment. No going back now. No second chances. Only forward. Only the mission. Only the teams. Basic training was supposed to break him. That was the whole point. Break them down, build them back up, weed out the weak. Find the warriors. Marcus arrived at Great Lakes Naval Station in Illinois. Summer heat. Drill instructors screaming. Chaos everywhere. New recruits looked terrified, but Marcus was calm. This is what I've been waiting for. The first week, 3 guys quit. The second week, 5 more. They couldn't handle the pressure, the yelling, the lack of sleep, the constant demands, but Marcus thrived. Every challenge made him stronger. Every obstacle proved he was right. This is where I belong. This is who I am. He graduated basic training at the top of his class. His instructors noticed him. This one's different. This one has it. But they didn't tell him that. They never do. They just watched and waited to see if he'd make it to the real test. Bud S training. Basic underwater demolition SEAL training, where legends are born and dreams go to die. Bud S has a 90% failure rate. 9 out of 10 men quit. These aren't normal men either. These are athletes. College football players, Olympic swimmers, Marines, Rangers, the best of the best. And still they quit. They ring the bell. They give up. Because Bud S isn't about physical strength. It's about something deeper, something rare, the refusal to quit, even when your body begs you to stop. Marcus arrived at Coronado in the fall. California sunshine, beautiful beach, but this beach was different. This beach was hell. The instructors watched the new class arrive. 75 men, eager, confident, ready. The instructors smiled. They'd seen it before. Let's see who's left in 6 months. The first phase was conditioning. Running, swimming, calisthenics. Hours and hours of pure suffering. Marcus's body screamed at him, stop, please stop. But his mind was stronger. His mind said, no, we don't stop, we never stop. Remember Emily, remember the hospital, remember the promise. Then came Hell Week. The legendary 5.5 days, no sleep, constant movement, freezing water, impossible tasks. This is where most men break, not because their bodies give out, but because their minds surrender. The instructors know this. They push the mental buttons. You're not good enough. You'll never make it. Just quit. It's okay to quit. Everyone understands. Marcus remembered one moment from Hell Week. 3 a.m. on Wednesday. They'd been awake for over 60 hours. The instructors made them sit in the ocean. Linking arms, waves crashing over their heads, water temperature 55 degrees, hypothermia setting in, men shaking uncontrollably, teeth chattering like machine guns. The instructor walked up and down the line. The bell is right there. Hot coffee, warm blankets, food. All you have to do is quit. Just stand up, walk away. This doesn't make you weak. This makes you smart. The man next to Marcus started crying. I can't do this. I can't. Marcus grabbed his arm tighter. Yes, you can. We're doing this together. Don't you dare quit on me. But the man stood up anyway, walked to the bell, rang it 3 times. The sound echoed across the beach. The sound of defeat. The sound of surrender. 5 more men followed him, one after another. Ring, ring, ring. The instructors smiled. Good. We're getting somewhere now, let's see who else breaks. Marcus never considered quitting. Not once, not for a second. His body was shutting down, his mind was hallucinating, but something deeper kept him going, something primal, something unbreakable. This is who I am. This is what I was born to do. Pain is temporary, regret is forever. He graduated Bud S in the top 5%. Only 32 men remained from the original 75. Marcus earned his trident, the symbol of a Navy SEAL, the most respected warriors in the world. His instructors pulled him aside after graduation. Webb, you're one of the best we've seen. Keep that mindset, keep that drive. You're going to do great things. But Marcus didn't feel great. He felt exhausted, broken, different. The training had changed him, fundamentally, permanently. He looked in the mirror and saw someone new, someone harder, someone capable of terrible things, necessary things. He was ready for war, and war was waiting. His first deployment came in 2003. Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom. The invasion was in full swing. Baghdad was falling. Saddam's regime was crumbling, but the real fight was just beginning. Insurgents, terrorists, hidden enemies, urban warfare, the most dangerous kind. Marcus's SEAL team deployed to Ramadi, one of the deadliest cities in Iraq, a place where Americans died every single day. The first mission was a night raid. Intelligence said a high-value target was hiding in a compound, an al-Qaeda leader planning attacks, building bombs, killing civilians. Marcus's team got the green light. They loaded into helicopters. Black night, no moon, perfect for ghosts. They fast-roped onto the roof. Silent, quick, professional, Marcus moved through the building like water, smooth, fluid, unstoppable. Each room was cleared systematically. They found the target in the back bedroom, sleeping, dreaming, not anymore. The mission was a success, no casualties, no complications, just another day at the office. But not every mission went smoothly. 2 months later, Marcus's team was ambushed. They were on patrol, gathering intelligence, talking to locals. Then the world exploded. RPGs, machine gun fire, grenades, chaos. The team took cover, returned fire, but they were outnumbered. 15 insurgents, maybe more, all with automatic weapons, all willing to die. Marcus's team leader was hit, shrapnel to the leg, going into shock. Someone needed to take charge. Marcus didn't hesitate. He moved, flanked the enemy position, took out 3 insurgents with precision shots, threw a grenade, cleared the building. The team got out alive. Barely. His team leader looked at him differently after that. You saved our lives today, Webb. That's not something I'll forget. Over the next 5 years, Marcus completed multiple deployments. Iraq, Afghanistan, places that couldn't be named. Black operations, classified missions, things that never made the news. He saw combat most people only see in movies, but this wasn't a movie. This was real. The blood was real. The death was real. The consequences were permanent. Marcus became one of the most reliable operators in his unit. His teammates trusted him completely. If Webb says it, you can believe it. If Webb's got your back, you're safe. He was promoted to team leader in 2008. Leading men in combat, making life and death decisions, bringing everyone home. That was the mission. That was everything. But success came with a price, a heavy price. Marcus had married his high school sweetheart, Jenny, in 2004. She waited for him during Bud S. She supported his dream. She loved him. But deployment after deployment broke her down. The worry, the fear, the loneliness. Every knock on the door could be notification officers. Every phone call could be the last. They tried to make it work. Marcus would come home, they'd reconnect. Everything seemed fine. Then he'd deploy again, 6 months, 9 months. A year, Jenny would be alone again, sleeping next to an empty pillow, praying he'd come home, praying he'd still be the man she married. But Marcus was changing. Every deployment changed him, made him harder, made him distant, made him someone she didn't recognize. The divorce papers came in 2009. Marcus was deployed when he got them. Middle of nowhere, Afghanistan, living in a mud hut. Hunting Taliban, he read the papers by candlelight. His marriage was over. His normal life was over, but part of him wasn't surprised. Part of him knew this would happen. Warriors don't get happy endings. Warriors get missions. That's all. That's everything. His body told the story too. Scars covered his arms, his back, his chest, shrapnel wounds, bullet grazes, knife cuts, surgery scars. Each one was a memory, each one was a battle. His knees were shot, his back hurt constantly. His hearing was damaged from explosions. He was 30 years old, but his body felt 50. This was the price. This was the cost of being a warrior. But the physical scars were nothing. The mental ones cut deeper. Marcus carried ghosts with him, faces of friends who didn't make it home, faces of enemies he'd killed, faces of civilians caught in the crossfire. They visited him at night, in dreams, in flashbacks, sometimes while he was awake. PTSD. They called it post-traumatic stress disorder, but Marcus called it something else: the cost of war, the price of survival. In 2010, Marcus made a decision. After 12 years of service, after multiple deployments, after giving everything, he retired. His contract was up. He could re-enlist, keep going, keep fighting. But something inside him was broken, or maybe just tired. He needed peace. He needed quiet. He needed to find himself again if there was anything left to find. Marcus moved to Wyoming, a small town called Clearwater. Population 2,000, one main street, a few shops, a diner, a bar, mountains in the distance. Perfect. This was exactly what he needed. No noise, no chaos, no war, just peace and quiet and empty space. He bought a small house on the edge of town. Paid cash, disability money and savings. The house needed work, but Marcus didn't mind. He needed something to do, something to focus on. He fixed the roof, painted the walls, built a deck. Physical work, simple work, honest work. It felt good. It felt normal. But normal didn't last long. Marcus was restless. The warrior inside was packing like a caged animal. He tried to ignore it, tried to be civilian, but he couldn't just sit still. He couldn't just do nothing. So he opened a gym, a small place downtown, just basic equipment. Weights, punching bags, training mats, nothing fancy, nothing special. He called it Clearwater Fitness. Started teaching self-defense classes, basic stuff at first, how to escape a grab, how to throw a punch, how to stay safe. The locals came slowly, curious about the new guy. The quiet veteran, he didn't talk much, didn't share stories, just taught, just trained, just kept to himself. People thought they knew him. That quiet guy who owns the gym, former military, probably saw some action, maybe a little intense, maybe a little damaged, but harmless. They had no idea. No idea what he'd done, no idea what he'd seen. No idea what lived inside him, and Marcus liked it that way. Anonymous, invisible, forgot. For 6 months, life was peaceful. Marcus trained every morning, ran through the mountains, swam in the lake, taught classes in the afternoon, ate dinner alone, went to bed early. It was quiet, it was simple. It was exactly what he thought he wanted, but something felt wrong, something felt missing. Purpose, mission, meaning. He was just existing, not living, just surviving, not thriving. Then came the Iron Wolves. Late summer of 2010. August, hot days and warm nights. They rolled into town on a Saturday. 15 motorcycles, chrome gleaming, engines roaring, leather vests with patches, the Iron Wolves. Everyone knew the name. Everyone feared the name. A biker gang that controlled territory across 3 states. Montana, Wyoming, Idaho. They dealt drugs, ran guns, extorted businesses, ruled through fear and violence. Small towns were easy pickings. No real police force, just a sheriff and maybe 2 deputies. Overwhelmed, understaffed, outgunned. The Iron Wolves knew this. They exploited this. They'd roll into a town, take over a bar, demand protection money. Most people paid, because if you didn't pay, bad things happened. Your business burned down, your car got trashed, you got beaten, or worse, much worse. Their leader was a man called Reaper. Real name Jason Marks, but nobody called him that. 6'4", 300 pounds of muscle and meanness, covered in tattoos, scars on his face, scars on his knuckles, a history of violence, assault charges, manslaughter charges, time in prison. But he always got out, always came back, always got worse. Reaper ran his gang like a military unit. Chain of command, strict rules, complete loyalty. You cross the Iron Wolves, you die. Simple, effective, terrifying. He had lieutenants in each state, soldiers below them, prospects trying to earn their patches. A whole organization built on fear and blood and money. They took over Murphy's bar first, the local hangout, where everyone went on weekends. Reaper walked in with 5 of his men, walked right up to the owner. Old man Murphy, 65 years old, ran that bar for 30 years. Reaper put a heavy hand on his shoulder. Nice place you got here. Be a shame if something happened to it. Murphy knew what that meant. Everyone knew what that meant. How much? Murphy's voice shook. $2,000 a month. Cash every first of the month, or else. Reaper smiled, gold teeth, dead eyes. Murphy nodded. He didn't have a choice. Nobody ever had a choice. Reaper and his men drank free that night, harassed the waitresses, broke a few glasses, marked their territory. This is our town now, that was the message, and everyone received it. The sheriff tried to do something. Sheriff Tom Wilson. Good man, 20 years on the job, but he was one man with 2 young deputies against 15 bikers, all with criminal records, all willing to kill. He made phone calls to the state police, to the FBI, but nobody could help. Not enough evidence, not enough resources, not enough anything, just empty promises. Sorry, Sheriff, we'll look into it. But nobody looked into it. Nobody ever did. Marcus heard about it at his gym. His students talked about the bikers, about the fear, about how nobody felt safe anymore. Marcus listened quietly. The warrior inside stirred. This feeling, he knew this feeling, injustice, evil winning, good people suffering, the same feeling from that hospital 12 years ago, when Emily was fighting for her life, when he felt powerless. But he wasn't powerless anymore, not even close. 2 days later, Marcus went to Murphy's bar. Tuesday evening, quiet night, or it should have been, but the Iron Wolves were there, louder than before, more aggressive, pushing boundaries, testing limits, seeing what they could get away with, everything. They could get away with everything because nobody would stop them. Nobody could stop them, or so they thought. Marcus walked in slowly, took in everything. 15 bikers spread throughout the bar, 2 by the door, 5 at the pool table, 8 at various tables, Reaper at the bar, holding court, telling stories, drinking whiskey. The whole place felt wrong, tense, dangerous, like a bomb waiting to explode, perfect. Marcus thought, let's light the fuse. He walked to the bar, sat down 3 seats from Reaper. Ordered a coffee, black, no sugar. The bartender's hands shook. You sure you want to be here tonight, friend? Marcus just nodded. I'm exactly where I need to be. The bartender poured the coffee, moved away quickly. Smart man, he could feel what was coming. Everyone could feel it. The air itself was electric, crackling, waiting. Reaper noticed Marcus immediately. How could he not? This stranger, sitting calmly, drinking coffee in a bar, not showing fear, not showing respect. Who the hell is this guy? Reaper stood up slowly. All 300 pounds of him walked over to Marcus, invaded his space, stood too close. A classic intimidation move, works on most people, breaks them down, makes them submit. But Marcus didn't even flinch. You lost, old man? Reaper's voice was gravel, deep, threatening. This is our bar now, you should leave, while you still can. His breath smelled like whiskey and cigarettes. His eyes were dead, shark eyes, predator eyes, eyes that had seen violence. Eyes that had caused violence, eyes that enjoyed violence. But Marcus had seen worse, much worse. Men who killed for ideology, men who killed for pleasure, men who killed because that's all they knew. This biker was nothing. This biker was amateur hour. Marcus looked up slowly. His face was calm, almost peaceful. His eyes were empty, the eyes of a man who'd killed. A man who'd survived, a man who'd seen hell and walked back out. I'm right where I need to be. His voice was quiet, controlled, no anger, no fear, just statement of fact, just cold truth, just warning that nobody heard. The bar went completely silent. Pool balls stopped clicking, conversations stopped. Everyone turned to watch because everyone knew this was it. This was the moment. Violence was coming, blood was coming, probably death. And this stranger, this quiet man, he was about to get destroyed, beaten, maybe killed. That's what everyone thought, everyone except Marcus. He knew different. He knew exactly what was about to happen because he'd done it 1,000 times before. Reaper's smile faded. His face got hard, dangerous. You just made a big mistake, friend, the biggest mistake of your life. He reached out, grabbed Marcus's shoulder, tight, painful, meant to hurt, meant to intimidate, meant to establish dominance. But Marcus moved, fast, faster than anyone expected, faster than should be possible, the speed of a man who'd trained for war, who'd fought for survival, who'd killed to stay alive. 12 seconds, that's all it took, 12 seconds to change everything. Marcus trapped Reaper's wrist, applied pressure to the radial nerve, a pressure point that causes instant blinding pain. Reaper's hand opened involuntarily, releasing Marcus. Then Marcus twisted, hard, clinical, precise. The wrist broke, clean fracture. The sound was like a gunshot, loud, final, permanent. Reaper's eyes went wide, shock, confusion, pain, so much pain. But Marcus wasn't done, not even close. He stood up in one smooth motion, elbow strike, straight to Reaper's nose, cartilage crunched, blood exploded. The big man staggered backward, still trying to process, still not understanding. How is this happening? Who is this guy? But there was no time for answers, only consequences. Marcus drove a knee into Reaper's ribs. 3 ribs cracked. Reaper went down, all 300 pounds, crashed to the floor like a falling tree. Out cold, finished, done. The other bikers froze just for a second, just for a heartbeat. Their leader was down, unconscious, bleeding. This wasn't possible, this wasn't how it worked. They were the predators, everyone else was prey, but not this man. This man was something different, something dangerous, something they didn't understand. Then they moved, all of them. At once, chairs flew back, bottles dropped, fists clenched. Knives appeared, 15 men, all charging, all attacking, all making the same mistake their leader made. They thought numbers mattered, they thought size mattered. They thought rage mattered, but Marcus knew better. Training mattered, discipline mattered, experience mattered. And Marcus had all 3. In abundance. The first 2 came from his left. Big men, confident, angry, they swung wild, telegraphed punches. Marcus saw them coming from a mile away. He sidestepped, redirected their momentum, used their weight against them, hip throw. The first one crashed into a table, wood splintered, glass shattered. The second got an elbow to the temple, lights out. He dropped instantly, 2 down. 3 more rushed him from different angles, smarter, coordinated, but not smart enough. Marcus moved like water, flowing, adapting, never staying in one place, knee to the liver. Hammer fist to the collarbone, sweep the leg, they went down hard, gasping, broken, confused, 5 down. The rest pulled knives, 6-inch blades, serrated edges, meant to intimidate, meant to kill, big mistake. Marcus had been trained for knife fights in dark alleys in Baghdad, in close quarters in Fallujah, by the best fighters in the world. These bikers were children playing with toys. Marcus was a surgeon with a scalpel. The first knife came at his throat. Fast, committed, fatal if it landed. Marcus deflected the arm, trapped the wrist, twisted. The knife clattered to the floor, then he drove his palm into the biker's elbow, hyperextension. The joint bent backward, wrong direction. The man screamed, dropped, cradled his ruined arm, 6 down. Another knife, this time from behind. Coward's attack. Marcus heard the footsteps, felt the air change, spun, caught the wrist, applied an Aikido lock. The biker's own momentum worked against him. His shoulder dislocated, pop. The sound was sickening. He fell to his knees, crying, begging, 7 down. The remaining bikers backed up, fear in their eyes. This wasn't a man. This was a demon, a ghost, a killing machine. They looked at their brothers, broken, bleeding, beaten, all in less than a minute. Reaper was still unconscious. Their leader, their protector, their strength, gone, and they understood, finally, terribly. They'd picked the wrong fight, the worst fight, their last fight. 3 of them ran straight for the door, didn't look back, didn't help their brothers, just ran. Survival instinct kicking in. The others tried to follow, but Marcus was faster. He moved to block the door, standing there, calm, barely breathing hard, not a scratch on him. You're not leaving yet. His voice was ice. Cold, final, absolute. We're not done here. One biker pulled a gun, a snub-nosed revolver, shaking hand. Desperate move. Marcus moved before he could even aim, closed the distance in 2 steps, disarmed him in one motion. Pressure point strike to the wrist. The gun fell, Marcus caught it, ejected the bullets, tossed it away. Then drove his fist into the biker's solar plexus. All the air left his lungs. He collapsed, 8 down. The last 4 surrendered, hands up. Eyes down, don't hurt us, please, we're done, we're leaving. Marcus stared at them, deciding, calculating, measuring. Then he stepped aside. Get out, tell your friends, tell everyone, this town is protected now. You come back, it'll be worse, much worse. They didn't need to be told twice. They grabbed their conscious brothers, dragged them out. Left the unconscious ones, left Reaper, left their pride, left their power, just ran. The bar was silent, 30 seconds of violence. 15 men defeated. The locals stared at Marcus. Who is this guy? What is this guy? Marcus just sat back down, finished his coffee like nothing happened, like he'd just taken out the trash. Because to him, that's exactly what it was, just another day, just another fight, just another mission accomplished. Sheriff Wilson arrived 20 minutes later. 3 patrol cars, lights flashing. He walked in expecting carnage, expected bodies, expected a massacre, and he found it, sort of bikers everywhere. Groaning, bleeding, broken, but no guns fired, no deaths, just surgical precision, just controlled violence, just perfect execution. He saw Marcus sitting calmly, coffee cup in hand, and he knew, immediately, instinctively, this man was military, special operations, the real deal. Sheriff approached slowly, hands visible, non-threatening. Sir, I need to ask you some questions. Marcus nodded. Of course, Sheriff, I understand. He pulled out his military ID, handed it over. Sheriff Wilson read it, looked up, looked at Marcus, looked at the bikers, looked back at the ID, Navy SEAL, retired, 12 years of service. Multiple deployments, everything made sense now, everything clicked into place. This wasn't a bar fight, this was a military operation, a one-man assault. A message delivered in blood and broken bones. Sheriff handed back the ID. I'm guessing they started it. Marcus just smiled slightly. They made some mistakes tonight, several mistakes. The sheriff looked around again. Yeah, I'd say so. He didn't arrest Marcus, didn't even cuff him, just took a statement. Self-defense, clear case. 15 men attacking one, witnesses everywhere, open and shut. Besides, the sheriff was grateful. The Iron Wolves had been a problem, a big problem, and now they'd been handled properly, permanently. Thank you. The sheriff said quietly, this town needed that. Marcus just nodded. It's what I do, what I've always done. The Iron Wolves never returned to Clearwater. Word spread fast, through their network, through the criminal underworld. There's a Navy SEAL in Wyoming, a real one, a dangerous one. Stay away, don't go there, don't even think about it. The legend grew. Some said it was 15 against 1, some said 20, some said 30. The numbers didn't matter, the message did. Evil had been confronted, evil had been defeated. Evil had run away with its tail between its legs. Other gangs heard the story, made notes. Clearwater is off limits. That town has a protector, a guardian, a wolf disguised as a sheep. They moved their operations, found easier targets, found places without Navy SEALs, found places where fear still worked. But not Clearwater, never Clearwater again, because Marcus was there, watching, waiting, ready, always ready. The town changed after that night. People walked taller, smiled more. The fear lifted like morning fog. Business owners felt safe. Families felt protected. Kids played outside again, all because one man said no. One man stood up. One man refused to let evil win. Marcus didn't want recognition, didn't want parades, didn't want thanks. He just wanted peace. But he realized something important. Peace isn't the absence of conflict. Peace is the presence of justice. And sometimes justice requires violence. Controlled violence. Necessary violence. Righteous violence. His gym became more than a gym. It became a sanctuary, a place where people learned to defend themselves, to stand up, to be brave. Marcus taught differently now, not just techniques, but mindset, confidence, courage. He taught women who'd been abused, men who'd been bullied, kids who'd been picked on. He gave them tools, not just physical tools, mental tools, emotional tools, the tools to say no, the tools to fight back, the tools to survive. One student was Sarah Mitchell, single mother, 2 kids. Her ex-husband was violent. Restraining order didn't stop him. Police couldn't help. She lived in fear, constant fear, until she found Marcus's gym. He trained her personally, taught her pressure points, vulnerable areas, how to disable a larger attacker, how to create distance, how to escape, how to survive. 3 months later, her ex showed up drunk, tried to break in, tried to hurt her, but Sarah was ready. She defended herself, defended her kids, put him in the hospital. He never came back. She sent Marcus a card later. "You saved my life. You saved my children. I'll never forget that." Marcus kept that card, put it on his gym wall. Reminder, purpose, meaning. More people came from neighboring towns. They'd heard the stories about the seal, about the protector, about the man who stood up to evil. Marcus's classes filled up. He had to hire help. Other veterans, men who understood, men who'd served, men who needed purpose too. Together they built something special. A community, a brotherhood, a mission, making people stronger, making people safer, making the world a little bit better. One person at a time. Marcus still trained every morning. Still ran the mountains, still swam the lake, still pushed himself. The warrior never sleeps. The warrior never stops, because evil never stops. It just waits, it just watches, it just looks for weakness. And Marcus refused to be weak, refused to be soft, refused to let his guard down, not ever, not even for a second. People asked him sometimes, "Do you regret it? The violence, the fighting, the way you handled those bikers?" Marcus always gave the same answer. No, not for a second. They preyed on the weak. They terrorized the innocent. Someone had to stop them. Someone had to stand up. Why not me? I had the training, I had the skill, I had the courage, so I did what needed to be done. Simple as that. The years passed. Marcus stayed in Clearwater, never left, never wanted to. This was home now. His purpose, his mission, his life. He trained people, helped people, protected people. The quiet guardian, the humble warrior, the man who asked for nothing and gave everything. Some people called him a hero. Marcus disagreed. "I'm not a hero. Heroes are people who do extraordinary things. I just did what any good man should do. I stood up. That's all. That's everything." But to the people of Clearwater, he was a hero. Their hero. The man who saved their town. The man who gave them their lives back. The man who proved that good can triumph over evil, that courage can defeat fear, that one person can make all the difference. They celebrated him every year. Anniversary of that night at Murphy's bar. Marcus never attended. Too much attention, too much recognition. He'd rather be at his gym, training the next generation, building the next protector, creating the next warrior. Because that's what the world needs. More people willing to stand, more people refusing to bow, more people who say no to evil, no to injustice, no to fear. Marcus Webb proved it's possible. One man, one moment, one choice to fight back, to stand up, to be brave. And that changed everything for a town, for a community, for everyone who heard the story. Sometimes the good guys win. Sometimes justice finds a way. Sometimes evil gets exactly what it deserves. Marcus Webb reminded us all of something we'd forgot, that evil counts on our silence, it counts on our fear, it counts on our weakness. But when one person refuses to be silent, refuses to be afraid, refuses to be weak, everything changes. The balance shifts. The tide turns. Hope returns. Thank you for watching this incredible story. A story about courage, about justice, about one man's refusal to let evil win. If this story inspired you, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because these stories matter. These reminders matter that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they choose courage over comfort, when they choose action over apathy, when they choose to stand. Next time we'll bring you another story, another reminder, another hero. Until then, remember something important. You're stronger than you think, you're braver than you know, and you have the power to make a difference, just like Marcus Webb. Just like every person who refuses to bow to evil, stay strong, stay brave, and never forget. One person can change everything. See you in the next one.